you? Are we ready? There are so many of you. You go so far back, I can't even see you all. But this is a good thing because the important thing here for you to be seen is in another 15 minutes up on the lift truck. Gene and Brad need to see you. Ladies and all right. Are the students way back there out of the no-sit zone? Eventually, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, good morning. What a beautiful morning. And welcome to an event that fills us all with pride and hope and gratitude. It is the group hug for the Admiral Theater. My name is Claire Eels. I am the Executive Director of the Southwest Seattle Historical Society. And many of you know this, just like at our totem unveiling at our birthplace of Seattle Loghouse Museum 2 years ago, and at our group hug for the Alki Homestead 1 year ago, I speak for our board and our staff and our volunteers and our donors in saying that we are thrilled to see all of you here today for this once-in-a-lifetime occasion to celebrate this summer's renovation of the Admiral Theater. Do you know there are nearly 800 students here today? Who here is from Schmitz Park Elementary School? Who here is from Alki Elementary School? And who here is from Lafayette Elementary School? So all of you, especially the parents and the teachers and the administrators here, when we are in the presence of children, it is important to remember the words of our late founder, Elliot Cowden. 21 years ago, he proposed a resolution that was passed unanimously by our board. And the resolution clearly states that the needs and the interests of young people are our highest priority. How wonderful if he could have been here today to see all of you. Now, I want you to let you know how this will work today. This will be a very quick program. First, we're giving thanks to the people who are making today possible. Then we will have a series of 1-minute speeches, and these guys have promised 1 minute apiece. And we will, during those speeches, we will hear from your school principals. Then we'll hear from the owner of the company that operates the Admiral Theater. Then we will hear from 2 representatives of King County, which has brought crucial funding to the Admiral Theater. And then we will hear from 2, not 1, but 2 former Seattle mayors who have special connections to the Admiral Theater. And finally, we will all turn to the left and we will pose for a giant group photo, all of us in the same photo with the Admiral Theater building. Okay, now let's get started with the thank yous. You've all heard this phrase. In all cultures, we know that it takes a village to get something done. And so let us thank a few of the people in our village who make possible the preservation of the Admiral Theater and other preservation projects locally. First, members of our Board of Trustees, some of whom are here today. They work so hard behind the scenes to help bring us to these special occasions. Please hold your applause until you hear all of their names. Marcy Johnson, our president, Peter Nelson, our vice president, Ron Arendt, our treasurer, Tia Hallberg, our secretary, and Esther Armstrong, Jenny Bodnar, Crystal Dean, Bonnie Gromlick, Dorothea Hendricks, Carrie Korsgaard, Tasha Miller, Karen Sisson, and Nancy Sorensen, trustees. Let's give them a round of applause. We also have here today our museum manager, Lissa Kramer, over here. Wave your hand, Lissa. Give her a round of applause. Also deserving a round of applause is the city department that makes sure that preservation of these precious places all over the city happens, including our Log House Museum, including the Alki Homestead and the Admiral Theater, the Seattle Landmarks Preservation Board and its staff. They're working downtown right now. Give them a round of applause that they can hear all the way across the bay. And we have one person who cannot be here today, but he is the owner of the Admiral Theater, Mark Garden. Mark and his late father Cecil were the heroes. They bought and they reopened the Admiral in 1992. Let's applaud so Mark can hear you wherever he is. This is all about gratitude here. We have people who are contributing directly to this event. For the sound system, the reason you can hear me, there's live audio, visual, and Jennifer and Dave O'Neill are here today. For the scissor lift truck, it's across the street that the photo will be taken from V4T and West Seattle's own Pacific Rim Equipment Rental. For the safety vests worn by many of our volunteers, one of your brother, sister schools in West Seattle loaned them to us today, Highland Park Elementary School. For taking our group photo today, high atop the lift truck, wave at him, Gene Sherrard. Gene. And for taking video of today's event, we have volunteer Brad Chrisman up on the lift truck and Ken Daniels on the ground. Both of them in the round. For covering this event, please applaud the West Seattle blog. And finally, the volunteers, the teachers, and the parent chaperones helping to guide everyone into position. Big round of applause. And now we get to the speakers. First, you're going to hear from your three principals about why they wanted you to come here today. Please welcome the principal of Alki Elementary School, Shannon Hobbs Beckley, the principal of Smiths Park Elementary School, Gary Kushner, and the principal of Lafayette Elementary School, Robert Gallagher.
Good morning, students. On behalf of all three of us, we'd like to thank you, Clay and Southwest Historical Society, for bringing us together as a community, much the way that the theater does each and every day. We all spend time coming and enjoying movies here and special events, and it's just a wonderful opportunity to see the theater rejuvenated for many years to come. On the Alki walk this morning, I had the privilege of talking with one of our teachers who has family history in West Seattle going back over 100 years. And she was telling the stories and memories that she and her family have from visiting the Admiral Theater. And so we appreciate this opportunity to create one more memory, and we look forward to all that is to come. So thank you.
Hello everybody, thank you for being here, and I want to echo what Principal Shannon added to us around memories, because this is something that Schmitz Park has been part of, all of you have been part of in one way or another for the last 3 years of creating memories about our bigger community, not just our school communities, which we work on every day, and this is now our bigger community, which we are all a part of. And so thank you for being here, and we'll enjoy this picture for a long time.
As a school principal, we're really excited that the Admiral Theater was selected this year because it gave our school an opportunity to really come out in numbers and really represent all of West Seattle. We're very lucky that our neighbor schools lent the desks and that our students are all here from all three schools. Can we just get one big cheer for Clay and all the hard work that he's done putting this together for us at the society? Give a big round of applause. I mean, all of our students had the opportunity to hear Clay speak. He came to our morning assemblies and spoke to you about the importance of protecting our historical landmarks. And so this is one of our landmarks, and I look forward to when it reopens, and when it does, we look forward to coming to the theater as a whole school when it does reopen, and we'll come and we'll celebrate reopening the theater next year, I'm hoping for. So thank you again, Clay, for having us, and wonderful job.
Thank you you, Shannon and Garrett and Bob. Next, we're going to learn a little bit about this theater that you are sitting right next to. Did you know that the Admiral Theater is 74 years old? It was built in 1942. And did you know that its lobby was a movie theater itself? It was called the Portola, and it was built in 1919. Just 3 years shy of 100 years old. And it was 27 years ago. 27 years ago, in 1989, that the Admiral Theater almost died. It closed in 1989, and thanks to a campaign by our historical society, the entire West Seattle community saved the Admiral. We saved it by persuading the city to make it a city landmark. And in fact, today I have here in my hand a Save the Admiral Theater button from 1989. Our Historical Society's theme this year, and you can see it on the marquee, is Loving Our Landmarks. That includes the Admiral Theater, the Alki Homestead, our Birthplace of Seattle Loghouse Museum, and 2 buildings in the West Seattle Junction, the Campbell Building and the Ham Building that we hope to secure landmark status for later this year. Now, being a landmark protects a building from being torn down. And because it was a landmark, the Admiral Theater was still standing when the Garton family bought it 24 years ago in 1992 and opened it back up. It has stayed open ever since, and that deserves a round of applause. This landmark has such a bright future that the operator of this theater is investing a lot of time and a lot of money into fixing it up and improving it, including an expansion from 2 screens to 4 screens, all while protecting the historic features of the building. We want you to meet one of the owners of this operating company, so please welcome on behalf of Faraway Entertainment, Saul Barron.
Good morning, boys and girls. I want to welcome you on behalf of the Admiral Theater. My name is Brian, and standing right over there next to me. We appreciate your big hug today. Your support is very important to us, and we work very hard to make the Admiral Theater even better. We're very lucky that the Admiral Theater exists today. This theater would not have survived without the efforts of many people in the West Seattle community, including it was led by the Southwest Seattle Historical Society that saved it, and there was a big effort, and we're very proud to be able to be here today. Like a good movie, this story had a movie script where there was a hero. The Garden family stepped up and saved the day and bought the Admiral Theater, so it's now available for us to use and show movies today. We are planning some big changes at the Admiral Theater beginning later this summer. These changes will allow us to protect the building, to fix it up, and yes, to show many more children's movies. After our remodel is completed, we will now go from 2 screens to 4 screens, which will be a big help. We will also be updating our seats, adding cup holders, and making lots of other changes. During the remodel, we will actually remain open. We are still open now. We will remain open during our remodel. And so please don't forget to come to the movies while that's going on. We're just delighted you were here today, and we appreciate all your efforts. And thank you for giving us the big hug.
Thank you, Saul. And now we hear from the King County officials who made it possible for $95,000 in grant money to go toward the renovation of this treasure. Please welcome, representing For Culture, the county's cultural services agency, Executive Director Jim Kelly, and representing King County Council Chair and West Seattle resident Joe McDermott, his chief and staff, and West Seattle resident Shannon Braddock. Please welcome Jim and Shannon.
Good morning! Good morning, everybody! Okay, I have to give a quick special shout out to Miss Adams' class, because that's my daughter's class.
You live in West Seattle.
I live in West Seattle, and my boss, Joe McDermott, grew up 1 block away from here.
1 block
One
away.
block away.
He
Yeah,
came here.
yeah.
He came here all the time.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things I think is exciting about this theater, nobody is building theaters anymore today. They're building multiplexes in malls. This is a very rare theater that is in a neighborhood. And you won't find theaters like this that weren't built before 1950. So what you have in your neighborhood is a neighborhood movie house. It is very rare. You can come from your home, jump on a bus, walk over here. And that's a very rare thing that we should treasure.
This theater is older than most of your parents. It's very special.
It's actually even older than me, which is really amazing.
Well, I just want to say, Councilmember McDermott really has a passion for arts and historic preservation, but it's especially meaningful to him when that work takes place in the neighborhood he grew up in, the neighborhood he still lives in today, the neighborhood his nephews are growing up in, and I love it because it's the neighborhood I'm raising my family in and live in today. So I want to thank everybody so much for being here today, and I want to thank Fort Culture for the great work that they do to bring these grant dollars, which the money is really important to get this work done. And so we so appreciate the work Fort Culture has done in partnership with all of the community organizations that have made this happen today.
Well, thank you, Shannon. And I just want to leave with echo something that Saul just said. And I'm not sure if you all caught it, but what Saul said is, don't forget to go to the movies. See you later.
Thank you so much, Jim and Shannon. Okay, now I am privileged to introduce our esteemed former mayors. First of all, we have a longtime West Seattleite who was our King County Council member back in 1989 when he joined us in picketing in front of the Admiral Theater on a closing night. And that picketing helped to kick off our landmark campaign. Then for 2 terms, he was the first ever Seattle mayor from West Seattle. Please welcome Greg Nichols.
Thank you, Clay. Good morning. Good morning. I didn't hear Schmidt's Mark back there. All right. Well, Mayor Rice and I were both ready to give 30-minute speeches, but we were talking to your teachers, and they said you're very anxious to get back into the classroom and get back to work, so we're going to be very short. First of all, community. Community's been mentioned a couple of times, and this is an example of community. We need places for our kids to go to school, and each of you goes to a great school here in the neighborhood. Second, we need places for people to be able to work, to be able to support their families, for our mothers and fathers to have good jobs. But we need more than that. We need to have a sense of community. And that comes in places like this where you can shop, you can see your neighbors and talk to them, and you can play, you can enjoy yourself. So this is an important part of the community here today, joining together in celebration. And secondly, and lastly, history. So history is something you do learn from a book, but it's much more than that. Because Clay Eels here, our MC, helped to preserve history, but in doing so, he made history. In 1989, he organized the neighborhood to protest the closure of this wonderful theater. And from 1989 to 92, he worked tirelessly to try and get this theater reopened. And so we're celebrating not just the preservation of something old, but the fact that today we continue to make history. And in our classrooms here today are people who will make history for us for the next 10, 20, 30, 50 years. So if you're in there and you're in your history book, think about the real people who make change and then dedicate yourselves to becoming among them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Greg. And our final speaker, just like Greg, was our Seattle mayor, And the Admiral Theater, you may know, was built outside and inside to look like a ship. So when it reopened under new ownership 24 years ago, the logical thing to do was for the mayor to come out and christen it by cracking a bottle of champagne against its wall. And Norm Rice is the one who did that. Please welcome Norm Rice.
Good morning. Play was nice. It took me 2 times to break that bottle. That's for sure. You know, in every community, the best part of a community is where you can live, you can work, you can play, and you can learn. And if you can do it all in one place, you have a wonderful place to love and care about. Today celebrates a place where you can play. You can go to the theater and see dreams and lives on a screen that tell you about your hopes, your aspirations, or just to have fun. This theater symbolizes West Seattle and the spirit of West Seattle and the people who care so much about it. So today we celebrate you, the future, those in the present and those from the past who preserved and protected to make this a place where you can live, work, and play. Congratulations.
Thank you, Norm. Okay, we are now at the point you've all been waiting for. You're all sitting on the concrete and the sidewalk. Everyone in the audience. This is the time to turn 45 degrees to your left and face our photographer, Gene Sherrard, who is standing on top of the scissor lift truck up there. I ask everybody in the crowd to make sure you are in the sun. If you are down on the north end and you are in the shade, you will not come out very well in the photo. That includes the adults. I see a number of adults in the shade. And we need to get the adults out of the street eventually. This will take a minute or two. We want every one of your faces to show. And I have a piece of advice for all of you. I bet there are at least 100 people here with sunglasses on. When we get to the point of taking the picture in a minute or so, please take off your sunglasses. I guarantee you, you will be so much happier with the photo when you see it if you can see your eyes. It would only be for a minute or so. How are we doing down there? I see a lot of congestion, and I see some adults in the shade. You're not going to show up if you're in the shade. We need some adjustments. Our volunteers are helping move people into position. I need a signal that you're all ready, but I see a lot of people in the shade still. There's that old phrase, if you can't see the camera can't see you. We're about ready. I still see adults in the shade. Students, how come we can't get adults to pay attention, huh? All right, could I have your attention? I need my volunteers down there to make sure to give me a sign that we're ready. Are we ready? Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Gene Sherrard. He's got a big voice. He doesn't have a mic. Gene, are we ready? What do you think?
I think we're ready. Are you guys ready? Who wants pizza? Okay, well, maybe they'll have some for lunch today at school. All right, one thing I want to say.
Gene, why don't you say it and I will repeat it.
Okay, I think I can get over the crowd here.
But you can't get over the car noise.
That's true. The car noise is bad. But if you are wearing a baseball hat, take it off for the picture.
If you're wearing a baseball hat, take it off for the picture. This will only last a minute or so.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, Gene says let's go. Everybody's face, arms down. Arms down. We want to see everybody's face. If you can can see the camera, you're in the photo. If your face can see it, Gene is taking it right now.
Okay, let's do a couple more.
He's going to do it again, faces up. Look right into the camera. He's coming across. He's got all of us.
Okay, everybody, wave your hands in the air.
Everybody wave your hands in the air. Keep waving. Keep waving. Keep waving.
That's it. Good work.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. And here's hoping later this summer when the theater's renovated and has 4 screens, you'll all be back. And you'll be seeing the photo of yourselves in the giant poster of the group hug for the Admiral Theater. Thank you all. Speakers, could I have you at the podium, please? Saul, Rick, Ellen, the 2 Shannons. Garrett, where are you? Bob Gallagher. Please come back to the podium, the principals. Jim Kelly. We need a group photo. Shannon Braddock, right here. Patrick, you gotta tell us where to stand.